Hi guys, today we'll be doing a color grading workshop. I'm gonna show you guys how to color grade and all the nuances of color grading. But before that, I know some of you guys don't know the basics of Davinci, so I'll just quickly walk you through how to do a few things beforehand to get your edits how you would like it. So first things first, we need to go and find our clips, which this will be on the link in the lesson. And well, you can use any clips that you want, but these are the sample clips I'll be using. All you have to do is drag and drop them into the media tab. This is the media tab right here. The next page will be the cut tab and the edit tab. What the difference between the cut and edit tab is a slimline version of a NLE, which stands for non-linear editing tool, and just allows you to cut more streamlined. So you can get, if you're in a fast-paced environment, you can use the cut page, cut, and just bash out a rough draft really quickly. Whereas this is where you do your fine-tuning, audio placements and stuff like that. The next tab is your Fusion tab. The next tab after that, this Fusion tab is like similar to After Effects, but it's a node-based system, which allows you to do a lot of cool things and blur, mask, whatever you need to do. The next page is where we're going to go to afterwards, which is our color grading tab. And the second to last page is our Fairlight, which is our Davinci's music kind of editing software, which is really nice to have, having them all into one software. And lastly, we have our render page all into one software. So a few things you've got to know about editing. So I'm going to start off with clip 1. If I double click on it, it shows up over here. I think it's got a little bit of a black start, so I'm gonna go and cut that bit out and press I to set the in and out set the in and out point. That didn't quite do it. As you can see it frame by frame. And then at the end, I want to cut out a little bit at the end as well, where there's no audio, where the audio cuts out. And I can press O for that, or drag over here. There's a few ways to do it. You can press the F9 hotkey to put this guy in, or you can just drag and drop this guy in, and now you have your clip. You can do that to the next clip as well. So my next clip wants to be, for example, this one. So double click. Let me just check out if it's good. It looks fine to me, so I'm just going to go drag and drop it in to the next and append it to the next section. If I, for example, want a clip that's different, we can do different at the start. We can change our playhead to be at the beginning, and we can do something called a ripple edit, which allows me to for example, if I wanted clip 4 to be at the start, I can click on this button, Ripple Operate, and this will do some weird thing, and I can just go and drag and drop it to where it says, and it just puts it in between the edit. If you do that without this setting on, this will do something similar, but it won't kind of put it in and move the rest of it along. So now we have these clips in sequence, which is nice. That is what we want. We can do something called a roll edit. So for example, if we hover between these two, there is actually no line, so I'm going to make it go forward a little bit. So now if I go to in between, you get to see the two kind of square brackets. If I can move it left and right, I mean just only left this time because this side's got a bit more footage. If I put it over here, if I drag that one a bit further, I can change where it kind of meets in the footage. You see that? So I can match these two clips up quite efficiently if I wanted to with this called a roll edit. If I were to hold the thumbnail instead, if I hover over my mouse over the thumbnail, I can do something called a roll edit, a slip edit, which allows me to slip to where I want to go to. But those are the key ways to edit. And then after that, we can go to the edit tab, which is the same thing, but we have more control. You'll probably be more familiar with this from Premiere Pro and stuff like that. Get all the same editing tools, but we have audio, and we can see it a little bit, the overall feel of the film a bit more. If you're more comfortable with this standard non-NLE kind of editing format, then feel free to just start off editing using this basically. But for me, I'm gonna give I like using both for different situations, so just choose whatever you want, or just choose one or the other, or use both. But I'm gonna spend some time doing some editing, and then I'll come back in a little bit. Okay, once we're happy with our edit, we can go to the color page. These just a quick little tour around this page. The right side over here, this is similar to, this is where our nodes are, which is essentially layers, how the effects are getting stacked on, and you can spiral them out, spiderweb them out, for example. Over here we have our thumbnails of each clip, so we know which one's a unique clip, and over here is where we get our color wheels and other stuff we need to use for color grading. Your version you might see a bit more, as my screen is a bit smaller, I believe. I'll have to work, you typically have this as well, as this is what you'll be seeing, and I'll have to switch between a few modes basically, but you'll probably be able to see a bit more, but we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. I'm unsure how the screen ratio affects what you guys actually see. A few things we need to note down before I tell you about before we start. Basically, there's 3 terms that you guys have to know about color grading, which is hue. Hue is essentially what color it is. Saturation is how much color there is of that certain color. For example, red. This will be medium. If I were to push this to red, this is fully saturated, really red. If I push it to about 50%, that's about 50% saturation, and back to 0 for neutral. There's also luma, which is the brightness of that color as well. So to set up our screen to be more efficient, we need to right click over here and show our scopes, and this will show us a lot of scopes, but the 2 scopes that I use most is the waveform and the vector basically. And if we go to the settings and make sure RGB colorize is on, this means that we can basically we can color correct using any screen, and we will know that it's correct most of the time, because every screen has a little bit of a different color that shows up. So if we have this waveform scopes, we can see the color balance and also the lights and darks. So for example, 0 is dark and 1 is white, complete white, 0 is black. And we want to see our vector scopes at the moment, because we are because we have a logarithmic footage, which is, if you're shooting in logs, it means it's completely kind of flat out, and to retain all color details for better color grading later. This is just basically to show us this is our color wheel basically, corresponding similar to what this is. For example, this in this shot right now is shooting towards the yellow orange area. This just shows you what kind of colors are in this shot, and a lot of blues as it's going over to this area as well. This is kind of really annoying to use right now, because it's on a window. So what I like to do, depending on your setup, you might want to click over to here and change this one to, for example, waveform, so we can see it a bit better. So color grading has 3 steps. Firstly, we need to fix the exposure. Next step, we need to do the color balance, or the white balance, and then lastly we have to fix the saturation. And this will make more sense whilst we do it together. But yeah, so first we see that this is a kind of flat profile picture because I shot this in logs. You'll see there's a lot in film where people shoot in logs because they want to have the utmost, which is a flat profile and gives you the utmost control when you're color grading. And to fix this it's very, very, very simple. This step, which the first step we're doing is fixing the exposure. So there's a few things we have to get to. If you don't have this open, we want to get to the primary color wheels, and then we have these sliders: lift, gamma, and gain. Lift allows us, it is basically the shadows, gamma is the midtones, and gain is the highlights, and offset is changing the whole thing. To change the the value of the value of the lift or gamma or the gain, is this slider at the bottom. There's a little dotted thing. This will change them up or down. If you change the colors, this will on this wheel, it will change the colors overall. However, we don't want to change any colors just yet, as the colors are already flat. However, if this color was if you shot this on a regular camera or footage type, you'll want to adjust it so that the values of these are lining up, so you get this flat profile because you want to start on a clean slate basically. And this first thing you want to do is basically you want to lower the shadows. So I'm lowering the shadows, as you can see, and I want that to sit just below 0, and that's already making just above 0 or on 0, depending on how dark you want it. So you want the shadows to actually be dark. I don't want it to be too dark because it's already a dark shot. And then we want the gains, the top end of this, to hit just below 1023. We want the trace to hit, this is called a trace, and we want that to hit just below 23. Okay, that's a little bit too bright. If you like that, then go with it, but I want it to be a little bit underneath that. This was extremely bright, the shop, when we were shooting it. So yeah, we'll do that. And then after that, the midtones, this is the most important bit. We want to have this evenly stretched out across it, so we have a nice contrast. So sometimes we want to go down, sometimes we want to go up. And in this case, I think I want to go down, because this stretches it out more nicely and gives me more color values. So it fills up the whole range. Something like that would do it. So the next step is we need to balance out the white balance, basically. So there's a few ways to do this. You can do this manually by adjusting temperature and tint, but now we have this really cool function where if we there's eyedropper tool, if we click on it and select something that is completely white. So I would say I don't know if this fan was white, but I don't think so. But basically what this will do is roughly change the waveform or the trace so that they all basically line up very, very close. They're already very close here, but they're a little bit off. I think maybe I can try this this billboard right here. Oh no, I guess that won't do it. Let me try this little light here. And we just want to adjust it so that it's kind of balanced. We want to select something that's completely white. Is this guy t-shirt white? Yes, that's as close as I can get it. But as you can see, there's a lot of blues and blue tones. As you can see, there's loads of blues popping up. So I'm going to change my temperature to be a little bit higher. We can adjust it so it is just a little bit bright, just a little bit more warm. And change the tint a little bit so we can get a bit more warmth into it. As you can see, we're white balanced it, but we want to also put in our own look, own vibes, depending on how we want to see it. If you push it towards green, it's a little bit more green. But I want to try to balance it out and also push it into a certain direction. I don't like it green. And then afterwards, the last step is to boost the colors now. So where it says sat, we can boost this up, where we can boost up all the colors or drain it down. but we want to boost up the colors so it's really nice and colorful. Where we can see the pinks of the skins and just overall the colors better. And now if I were to zoom into a better shot, this is the difference between the start and the beginning of the shot. As you can see, it's been color corrected. So essentially we just brought it to a neutral standing point basically, and that's where you want to start off every clip, even if you don't have it in logs or log footage or what, or you have it already in colored somewhat. We want to bring it to a neutral where the traces are literally in line, white balance is in check, and we just have values between 0 to 1 to 1023, and some that are completely dark, some that is completely white, because that's how we see real life. And then lastly we have the white balance and other stuff. So I'm going to show you a different way that you could approach color balancing as well. You could, if we were to add a new serial node, 1 second, no add node, serial color, serial node, which is basically essentially a new layer. If you guys have troubles visualizing the graphs basically, you can also turn on, if we go and search and make a new load, search for false color, apply, drag and drop this into here. Oh, I that's a bit weird, but not yet, please. As you can see, this is if you have a Davinci Resolve properly. On this computer I do not have the full grade, but this will allow you to, if I turn it to creative and exposure guide, this will allow us to see basically the exposure guide for this. So such as the blues is darks, which it shouldn't be, and the greens are greens between grey should be skin tone, so it's roughly got that. So this way we can adjust the colors like so. So we can basically do the same thing, but as you can see, the guides are a little bit can be a little bit nicer. I don't really understand this. I don't really rate this one. As soon as you disable this, you get a kind of quite even color balance, and then afterwards you can go and color temp this little white thing over here, and that should do the shot basically. I don't know, use both methods, whatever method you like. I like my method at the beginning, but I know some people do it like this. I don't understand it. But you can do it like that. Okay, for the third shot is we're gonna match the color grading from this shot over to here, and there's a few ways to do this. We can just easily copy and paste this. It's actually not as easy, but all simple. But we can copy this grade that we made earlier over to this shot, because they are the same shot, just a little bit changed, and that will give us a good base. So this was formerly our hero shot, where we want our color correction to be on the same kind of tonal range as this one. So all we have to do is open up the gallery, and then now we need to right click, grab a still. This is the still, and then after we have to select on the clip that we want to apply it to, right click and apply grade, and now we have the same grade basically across both sides. But there is a little bit of difference. As you can see, it's a little bit more green here. So what we can do here, if we just turn off this, we can go to, let me see where it is, 1 second. So we need to enable split screen first over here, and then this will give us this little drop down, and then we want to have it to be selected clips, and then we want to control click. Oh, actually you can't see it. Let me just show you guys again once I turn off the webcam. So let me just turn off the webcam quickly, As you can see, all I clicked on was this little button right here, so split screen, and then we get this drop down and click selected clips. After that, we want to control click onto this and now onto our hero shot, and as you can see, we can see them side by side in the viewer, but also we can see the waveforms a little bit side by side. So it splits up here, and we want to kind of what we want to do is match up the levels with them, which is, it's done a pretty decent job. But I think what we need to do is we need to this one has better color dynamics. So what we can do here is slide the offset a little bit higher, and we can get something very similar to that shot right there. Nice. However, I feel like the tonal range is not very good, so I'm going to show you a new feature, which is the HDR grade. So this allows us, if we click around, there's like many grades that you can do here, which is black, darks, and shadows, which is all the shadows. This is the dark shadows lights. The next one is shadows light highlights. This is the light highlight specular. So all of these modes, you can play around with them, but for my case, I'm just going to change the shadow and amp it up a little bit. So what I'm doing here, I'm just going to bring down the shadows so it's a little bit closer to the bottoms of the previous clips. The shadows here, we need to probably bring them down a tad bit. Same here. Let's see, I'm just kind of matching up the waveforms as I see them. You don't want to look at the screen. You kind of want to look at the screen, but you don't want to believe in it, because every screen has a different display setting or different lighting setups, so they all look different. However, what doesn't lie to you are the graphs down there, basically. So you want to line them up to the graphs, basically. And I think I'm pretty close. So I'm going to show you a few more tools, a few more things that you can do over here. So if we switch over to this little hue versus hue little tab over here, we can go ahead, and I want to change, for example, this this like graffiti color. I can tell on the waveform that it's around here, so I'm going to just lock it. So I'm going to click it over. One sec, I'm just gonna try to get it to be flat, something like that, and then I'm gonna move it up like that, and then we can slowly change the color to the opposite color, which is a greenish color. It won't completely do it, but it does a very, very good job. If, for example, you can change clothes colors like that, you can change a lot of things here. You can see this bit is not being affected by it. But that is one way to change it. A little bit of cleanup to be done. You need to go to the next tab along over here, to hue versus saturation tab, and do the same thing. Isolate it and make it a bit more green or a bit duller. So as you can see, if I were to, as you can see, it's also kind of changed the blue as well over here. You can kind of fully see that the blue door before is completely green now. What I did forget to do, by the way, guys, before I did that, was actually put a new layer for that. So, for example, I just need to go add node, serial node, and now this is my next layer. So I can do the same thing again, where I isolate this area and drag, make the door green, basically, and make it very vibrantly green. So I can do it like so, and do it like so. I think if I were to isolate something different, a different color over here, maybe it will change it. As you can see, it's kind of changing the isolation a little bit. Let me try that. Move it across a little bit more, and as you can see, that's kind of affecting that now more significantly. Maybe a bit more over here, and we have the whole magenta area being kind of green. So is our, but however, that's also affecting our clothing. So yeah, but that is one way to change the color. If I wanted to change, let's say, it will be hard to change this guy, my hero shot's clothing, because it's gray, but we can give it a little try with some mask and stuff and see. I can show you guys how to do that, but it might not work very well with this particular color. It has to be like quite a vibrant color, or not a tonal grayscale color, but we can give it a good shot though. Okay, I found the perfect clip for me to able to change. So for example, if I were to change my hero's skin color to be more like Hulk, for example, I can do this, but if I do it with this, the whole shot becomes completely green, and we don't want that, so we need to use a mask. So I'll show you a few ways that you can do a mask, and also the kind of roto brush kind of way to do it as well. But before that, because I just applied this randomly, let me just undo that and do it properly, just so I can check which layer it is. So I add a new layer. I'm also going to show you a few new ways to do the same thing as hue versus saturation, because in Davinci Resolve there's loads of ways to do this. So I'm going to show you this color warper hue saturation. So what this is basically the same, but instead of moving selecting grids, you can also move like little points around to change the overall look of things, which this means it's pushing back the greens, holding the greens back, making the greens more bright, for example, the blues more bright, more saturated, less saturated, stuff like that. You can also put more points into this, so I can put it to be like 24 and be like moving this over here. If I wanted to select a color, so eyedropper, let's go deselect this one. If I were to select a point, if I select a point here, for example, and click over here, this will isolate where that guy will be. And for example, I can just change that color around. I can push it to green, push it to whatever. It's really cool. So that's that. If I wanted to brighten up the luma curve, I'll go over here, do the same thing where I can auto lock. So if I auto lock, this will only change that particular color, it won't affect anything else. Back to the lunar curve, sorry. If I select the face of it, I know this is where it is, and I just go press auto lock. This will lock the pin down, so it will only affect hopefully that little area, hopefully. Oh, it's affecting more than that. But as you can see, I can change the brightness of it. But yeah, there's multiple ways to do it. I will do it how I want to do it. So I'm just gonna go back a little bit and reset it. So if I want to push his skin color to be more green or Hulk-like, I just need to find the range where it is. I think it's typically over here. That's where he's very green. Maybe a little bit more. Oh, maybe more this way actually. Okay, now he's green. He is the Hulk. Okay, and now if I go to the mask tab over here, this will allow me to put a, like, for example, a circle mask on this, but and try to track it. But as you can see, this kind of won't work because it's also affecting the outside basically, which is not gonna work. If I were to, I could in fact do it like this with the pen tool. I can go and trace around this figure, but because it's a running shot, I'll just do it really quickly and press if I press let's see, if I go to the next tab and press play, you can see it does a decent job, but as you see, it fails eventually. So yeah, you can see it kind of works and then it doesn't. Yeah, so there is a few ways to do this. You could do this with manual keyframes as well, but I'm going to show you one technique that could work for this clip, it might not work. Depends on the situation, right? And you gotta play. You gotta adapt to the situation, do things more manually if one thing doesn't work, basically. But yeah, I could go ahead and for example, keyframe this mask like any After Effects mask and make this guy green permanently as well. A little hiccup because just a little hiccup. You guys might not have this feature. This is on the Magic Mask tool. This might be on the premium version of Davinci Resolve. So if we go to here, we can add a stroke in for the character, and we can check on, I think it's this one, person mask. Oh, nope, it's this one. If we check on this one, toggle mask overlay, and it kind of overlays. Oh, that leg's not in there, so I need to draw a stroke on. And if I press play, this will allow us to. It will track the scene for us, and it does a pretty good job. It does a little bit of here, but it does a very decent job. And I can keep my guy perfectly green, whilst keeping the rest of it as as what it was before. I had to switch over. I don't have the previous grade from before because I had to switch over to this version. So I'm not entirely sure if you guys have have this version. Let me just do a little quick grade, so we can get there. So yeah, yeah. So I'm sorry if it depends what version you guys are on, but this is a premium Davinci Resolve feature, this magic mask, unfortunately. So let me just do it again, where I add a serial mask. I add a new node because it didn't quite work out. I just did a little quick color grade. I'm gonna push the colors again. Push the colors again, make him green, and then go to the magic mask tool. Just stroke him, or stroke him from the start here. Check on the mask, looks okay. Press play, and that should do the whole guy. And now, if I were to take off the mask, he's the Hulk now, with a little bit of a pause over here. Where does it pause? Around here. Let me just stroke it again and press play from here. Something's going on, but as you can see, that's how you roughly do it. One last tip. I'm going to switch back to my other version just to show you one last trick, and that'll be it. So here's my laptop version. What I'm going to do here is I'm just going to delete this so I can preview it a bit better. Just delete it. I'm going to select all of these. So I'm going to select these ones and right click, and I'm going to group them. Where's group? Group. 1 second. Right here, up here, add into a new group. I'm going to name this group all. And then if I were to change up here to clip to group post clip, so it's the group, and then during the post of that group, it will do the effect. So I'm going to do group post, and now if I just if I unclick all of these, for example, and I were to arbitrarily push the color of one of these guys, it should all change. Oh no, it should not. Group post, and now it should all change to a pinkish hue. And this is for after you've done all your grading or all the fine tuning the mask and stuff like that. This is where you want to group them up and set it the same way to get a specific look, such as The Aviator is a movie that has two tones. You can reference other movies where they have like high contrast, low contrast, two tonal colors, and basically try to recreate those kind of situations, those color grades using this group posts, because you want sections of them to be affected by this basically. And also one last little feature that I need to show you is the LUTs. There's loads of LUTs for free. These are all for Blackmagic cameras. But what a LUT basically does is a lookup. It stands for lookup table, which is very specific for that camera, which just basically does the auto balancing and contrast for you, and that will just be a short thing. But also specifically, it also does old lighting for old camera lighting for certain cameras, so you can recreate that specific camera look. So if I were to apply these LUTs, this will be the general look. This will push the green, the yellows and stuff, and make it a bit more brighter. So this will give you that look, film look. So for example, this the film look puts the contrast up, and stuff like that basically. Yeah. So these are all look, and you can just apply them, and this will apply to all your clips now. These are all your film look LUTs. So yeah, that's the general guide to color grading in DaVinci. There's a lot more features that you can explore, but that's the main ones that I find I use the most. Hopefully you guys experiment with this and keep on doing it. But anyway, I will see you guys on the next video. Peace, guys.